Hi, it's Julie from the PMFRC. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the time of year when so many of our families are dealing with the joy and the challenges of new postings. You might have been really excited to see a posting message come in, or maybe not as excited, but now's the time to start going through those details. As we know, a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm so glad to have Kayla Wright, Warrant Officer Doyle, and Lieutenant Colonel Clark joining us today, and they're going to be talking about the relocation policy and the things that you should know and keep in mind as you're going through this process. Again, a lot of questions, so it's great that we have this presentation. In addition to this presentation, this video, we are also going to make the presentation itself available as a link. So if you want to come back later and take a look at a certain slide later on and not watch the entire video, that's going to be an option as well. Colonel Clark, I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, Julie, thanks again for hosting us. Fantastic to be able to reach out to everyone in this way. I wish everyone a good evening or good day or good morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this video. We're going to take some time right now to go over the what's called the CAFRD, the Canadian Armed Forces Relocation Directive. So it's the policy that provides the guidance for how we do our moves. They did a survey a little while ago through all the MFRCs, and they surveyed families on things that cause stress, things that that people worry about, and moves, relocations is the number one. It is stressful. I mean, it's exciting too, and it can be an absolutely positive thing, but it is stressful. You're disposing of one residence, you're acquiring another residence, whether you're renting or buying. Is stressful either way. So you're packing up all of your stuff, and you're packing up your family, your pets, and you're moving. Whether it's your first move or your 8th move, it can absolutely be a very stressful time. And I also recognize that the times we're in right now are indeed stressful. We did this briefing last year. We did it in early March, and we were able to get people together in a large room and brief face to face. We clearly can't do that this year. I think we all know why. So we'll make the best of it and do it in this format. And again, I thank Julie for giving us this venue. We're going to go over the policy, and the policy has changed a bit from last year. I mean, fundamentally, there's not too many changes, but there are some, and I won't touch on them now, but I'll let the experts do that. Why I'm talking to you is that as the CO of Personnel Services on the base, I'm what's called your level 1 adjudicator, which means, which is a big fancy title, so that when there's a policy decision, there's certain things that I can do. I can make a ruling in certain areas, but within policy, I don't get to make it up. So there's some things that I can approve. Other things go up to Ottawa. And what we want to make sure today, or whenever you watch this, is that you have the best understanding you can of the move policy. Although the CAF is moving you, at the end of the day, it's going to be your move. It's going to be your house that you're going to at the time that you have picked, and you need to understand the rules. If you've made decisions, if you've made commitments, and then learn the rules, it's too late. So it's very important that you understand before you make a decision, before you pick a close date on your purchase or when you buy a house. Those are you need to understand what we can do for you, and we'll touch on a few of those things. I have a team today: Warrant Officer Tanya Doyle and Kayla Wright, who are my CAFRD cohorts. Now, they're not move counselors, so they're not people that you call day to day to ask for advice on what to do, but they help me in my role of adjudication. They do answer questions, absolutely, and they will help you, but they're not your move counselor. I just want to make that clear. But they are my experts on policy, and they're going to be the ones that actually walk through this presentation. Again, the policy has changed a bit. So if you moved last year, there's some changes. If you moved 10 years ago was your last move, then you're probably going to see some fairly large changes. I've lost track of my moves. I think I've done 8. Each one's been different. Each one's had its own excitement, and each time I had to learn the policy. And that's what we hope to have by the end of today. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Warrant Officer Tanya Doyle. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our APS 2021 CAF Relocation Directive briefing. Like Lieutenant Colonel Clark said, we can't stress this enough. This is your move. Tonight's agenda is there on the screen provided, and we're going to be touching on a number of different points. Your first point of contact for your move is always BGRS. They can be contacted by phone. You can do chats with them, emails, and they have videos online. You can reach them at their 1844 number or by email. If you require assistance through a CAF relocation coordinator, you can reach myself or Kayla Wright. Our phone numbers and extensions, our extensions and our emails are there. Right now, due to COVID, we ask that you send everything through email because we're not always in our offices. As CAF relocation coordinators, our responsibilities are receiving and forwarding requests to the appropriate authorities. We liaise with the local CAF offices as necessary. We liaise with the RBM as required, and we provide guidance to members regarding the process to require any policy clarifications or DCBA reviews. More of our responsibilities. Next one. Our extensions. Okay. Oops. Okay. Our extensions on limitations for sale or purchase of your primary residence, as well as verifications of posting allowances, registration issues, and clarifications on adjudications. I will go into depth on those ones in a minute. Also, the B-admin in the new policy is referred to as a local authority. And with that, everything must go again through myself or Kayla as CAF relocation coordinators. And that would be for vehicle rental upgrades, attending fees or power of attorney fees, additional ILM&M beyond the 10 days, HHTs after COS, and travel to new location, as well as travel by commercial carrier. For the extensions to the limit for purchase and sale, you can purchase a home 1 year before your posting message or 2 years after your COS date or HG&E is at your new place of residence. With that being said, let's say you were away on a deployment for a time period, or you were on a lot of taskings or TD. With CFTPOs and your claims, we can then do a purchase extension calculator, which you would then upload onto your BGRS site, and that would allow you more time to purchase a home if you didn't find one within when you first moved to the new area that you were relocated into. You skipped one.
It's like slow. Oh, there we go.
With the new CAF policy and the COVID restrictions, we now have new forms. All of these are hyperlinks. So you could get the forms right from here, or you can contact us. So if you required base admin approval and it had something to do with COVID-19 and or the standard form, you could get the link right from here. And again, all of these have to be submitted through the CAF relocation coordinators before they can get base admin approval. And we will only be getting base admin approval 2 weeks before your travel to new location. This is a simplified relocation travel benefit org chart that DCBA has put together. So for example, for HHTs or DITs, if you are going into a quarantine zone, so right now the Atlantic bubble, they are prohibited. So no one is allowed to do an HHT into the Atlantic bubble. It is a member's responsibility to find any link, paperwork, things like that to bring forward to your chain of command in order to be able to establish if you're allowed to do an HHT or not. That is not our responsibility as CAF coordinators. Members' responsibility. You need to read the parts of the policy that pertain to your move. You need to know the Relocation Directive overview. You need to register within 21 days of the date time group of your message. If not, your file will be canceled and you will need to contact us in order to get registered back online. Book a planning session with BGRS once you are registered in to the system and ask them the questions that you have. Understand the relocation benefits, conditions and limitations to the expenses. Results from misinterpretation and mistakes will not be necessarily reimbursed. And I can't stress that enough. DCBA doesn't have forgiveness if you misinterpret a policy. Ask for additional clarifications through BGRS. So if you're speaking to a BGRS representative and you've asked them a question and you don't quite understand, get it in writing from them. Sometimes if you don't agree with what they said because it doesn't make sense to what you've read in the policy, ask again. Maybe a different representative will give you a different answer. We have seen members win adjudications because BGRS has given them incorrect information. This is why you need it in writing, and anything that you have in writing on your BGRS account is always there. So you can ensure that, it'll always stay on your account. So it's always there for you to refer back to. Next slide. Continuing with members' responsibilities, you need to facilitate as much of a door-to-door move as possible. So that could mean changing your report for duty date, ensuring that you are disposing of your current accommodations and getting your new place of residence as close to the dates as possible, because you only have the 10 days of ILM&M in between. We also recommend that you use the BGRS third-party suppliers list. If you do, they are billed directly and you do not have to worry about getting advances to pay for any of the third-party suppliers. And they are automatically, as long as you advise them that you are a military move, they will automatically know that they can only bill you for the maximum that D&D allows. If they are not on the third-party supplier list, that is fine, but I would advise that you check what the maximum is and know that you would have to pay those members out of pocket. You could get an advance for that, but know what the maximum is. Again, the door-to-door leeway is 10 days of ILM&M. Lodging, meals, and miscellaneous. Advances. I can't stress enough, it is always recommended to take an advance when you're doing an HHT or your travel to new location or your interim lodgings and miscellaneous for meals while you're waiting for your new home, because it can take up to 20 calendar days for BGRS to finalize any claims. And we never want a member to be out of pocket for all of that money while they're waiting for these claims to be done. And in the summertime, during the height of travel, sometimes there are delays on claims being processed. With that being said, know that the budgeting tool that they use is very generic. So you should know the maximum for the hotel areas that you're going to and what the meal rates are. And all of that information is provided to you on the BGRS site. Know your geographical boundaries. The link is on your D&D computers as well as on the BGRS site. So know the geographical boundaries for the areas that you're moving into. If the area you're moving into is a PLD zone, know what the post-living differential zones are, because you would never want to be that person that bought the house on the other side of the road and now you're not entitled to PLD. If you and your family are traveling by airplane to your next location, you must create a TIN number for each family member. And again, the instructions are right on the BGRS site for you. The TAN prefix is Alpha Bravo Zulu 1. Booking your move. So when you go to book your move, it's through base traffic. You must give them a minimum of 10 business days before the load date that you require. That gives them enough time to create the contract with the moving companies. You have to fill out the 4443 form, which can be found under documents on your BGRS site. Complete it and send it to base traffic in Petawawa. It is plus Petawawa F&E at 2 Service Battalion. And if you require any of the other F&E departments across Canada, they can give you the contact list, or you can contact Kayla or myself and we can provide that to you. Along with your 4443 form, you also need to provide your posting message. And if you're a releasing member, your IPR election form. If you do not have a copy of your IPR election form, either the release section or Kayla and I could provide that to you if you released from Petawawa. If you release from another base, you would have to contact that base in order to get it. Lessons learned. Again, for lessons learned, can't stress it enough, get in advance and know that you should only take 80 to 90% of your advance. If your move is set up for a pack, load, and clean day, then stay at origin and travel the next day. If you clean and travel on the same day, then that day is considered your travel day. If your F&E arrives sooner than expected, you may owe that money back to BGRS. Submit your claims. Just because BGRS gave you money for an advance doesn't mean you don't need to submit a claim. Ensure you do not go over the allotted travel days for the destination that you are going to. Map out your routes. Know the hotel caps. This goes along with your advances. On the site, it's called ACRD, and it'll give you all of the hotel maximums for the area that you're going to and for the months that you're doing it in. Also, in the policy, under Article 3.2.02 gives you your room entitlements. So depending on how many members of your family there are, you may be entitled to more than one room. Upload all of your documents and name them. So when you're going to submit your claims, it'll be easier for you to figure out which claim goes or which, sorry, receipt goes with which claim. So if it was a receipt for travel to new location hotel receipt, then name it travel to new location hotel receipt. When you take a picture and you upload it, if you can't read it properly, they won't be able to read it properly. If it has a little debit receipt on the top corner, rip that off and ensure that the whole receipt is visible and that your name and the balance is showing at 0. Follow the action tasks on the site. More lessons learned. If you're proceeding unaccompanied or you're going on IR, you're not entitled to your movement grant of $650. You're only entitled to that $650 once you move your HG&E. Again, if you're going unaccompanied or on IR, check with the IR clerk at the location that you're going, because if single quarters are available, then you are not entitled to go on an unaccompanied HHT. Third-party suppliers list, again, ensure that you advise them that you're a D&D member and that the maximum cap rates are being followed. Participating lawyers get paid directly by BGRS. And again, for lawyers, they need to give enough notice to BGRS when they want to submit their bills for, or invoices, sorry, for payment. Last year, we had more than one member that had to get $10,000 or $11,000 paid out to them within a 2 to 3 business day, and it wasn't possible. They had to dip into savings in order to pay off their lawyer so that their house could close. Not every member can do that. When you're submitting your claims and you requested $2,000 to be reimbursed, look at your claims afterwards. If they only paid you back $1,500, there will be a little bubble beside it. Click on that bubble. It'll give you a comment. That comment may say that they couldn't read one of your receipts or that something wasn't legible. Follow whatever it is that they asked you to do so that you can then correct it and get reimbursed.
Okay, continuing with lessons learned. Mortgage early repayment penalties. This is if you break your mortgage with your current lender and you incur a penalty. This is covered under policy section 8.2.12. Now, it is important to note that if you do have a portable mortgage and you decide not to port your mortgage because of a personal decision to, let's say, get a cheaper interest rate with your mortgage. To get a cheaper interest rate with your mortgage, BGRS will deny this benefit to you because you were able to port your mortgage. So this penalty is only reimbursable if the bank will not let you port that mortgage. Mortgage default insurance. This is also known as CMHC fees. This is if you don't have your 20% down payment to purchase your home. If you are a homeowner at origin, this is reimbursable from your core funding account. If you are a renter at origin, this is reimbursable from your custom funds. Now keep in mind that custom does have a cap at it. There also have been changes to policy in regards to this benefit, so please review it as well as confirm with BGRS. Policy clarifications. There have been numerous clarifications over the years that apply to previous policies as well as the current one. It is important to review these clarifications as well, as they may be pertinent to your situation. For example, actively marketed. This definition has been clarified because it means your house must be listed at or below appraised value. So in order to claim benefits such as temporary dual residence assistance, the marketing incentive, your home must be listed, must be actively marketed. Your posting message. If for some reason you need to request a new COS date, ask that they amend your original posting message with the new COS date and not create a new posting message. If they create a new one, this means a whole new file with BGRS. You can also just request a report for duty date, and this can be done 30 days before your COS date or 90 days after your COS date, and this doesn't require any amendment to the posting message. If you are on maternity or parental leave, you must go off of it for your relocation. Please ensure that you go see them in the orderly room. If you are also a service couple, there will be one move for yourself, for both of you. You will have one file, and it'll be under the last three numbers of the move number will match the primary member's last three numbers of their service number. You will go to the bgrsguide.bgrs.ca to register and also add your new posting. You will also find the CAF relocation program overview here, and it has a lot of good tips and useful information. And this is a copy of the CAF relocation program overview. Registering with BGRS. If this is your first time registering with BGRS, you will have to log in, clicking that blue button there. You will then enter your information exactly as it's shown on your posting message into the registration. If this is not your first time registering with BGRS, you will use your previous username and password and enter it here. You will then go to the top of your BGS profile and you will go add new posting, and it'll pop up there. If this is your first time registering and you are having this error pop up, this is because the information that's on your posting message wasn't the same information that was received for your file to be activated. It is very important to try multiple different ways of entering your information. So for example, all lowercase, all uppercase, if you have a hyphen in your last name, a combination of both, or even trying a middle name. It is important to try multiple combinations, as the system is very finicky and very specific, and it could just be a simple switch of your first name to middle name. If you are still experiencing registration issues after the 5-day waiting period, this is when you would contact myself or Warrant Officer Doyle, and we will confirm if your file has been activated. Your move number can be found in para 4 of your posting message. And for release members, the release section will email you a copy of this number to you. It can also be found on your IPR election paperwork. And again, for service couples, the move number indicates whose move it is, as the last three numbers of the move number is the last three numbers of the service number. And there will be one move file with BGRS. In previous years, they were doing group planning sessions. They may be doing individual ones now. However, we do not have access to that website. But either way, you will be able to book a first planning session through the secure website here. It is important to add all of your specific questions to that text box right there, because BGRS will be able to review these questions prior to your planning session and will have those answers for you. Following your online registration, your chain of command will provide a half day to do the virtual conference, and you will be given 1 to 2 hour blocks for administrative time to do your relocation. For new members on BTL who have just completed their training, the chain of command will ensure that you have access to computers. My Relocation Directive is a very important link. That is where you will find the CAFRD that lists all of your relocation entitlements. When you click on that button in the BGRS profile, it'll bring you to the directive as well as all the policy clarifications so you can be up to date. It is very important. I always say knowledge is power here. So it's important to educate yourself because this is your move. It is your responsibility to line everything up and clarify with BGRS. Now, sometimes you may get multiple different answers from BGRS. This is when you come see myself or Warrant Officer Doyle, and we will clarify any issues that you may be having. But it is important to always turn to policy and confirm with BGRS first. You will also find the tax implications guide here because you may or may not incur some taxable benefits during your relocation.
Taxable relocation benefits. Some benefits are considered cash benefits and some are considered non-cash benefits. A cash benefit could be a home equity assistance or real estate incentive. Home equity assistance is where you can get $15,000 non-taxable from CORE and in addition, and up to an additional $15,000 taxable from custom, totaling up to $30,000. REI is 80% of the real estate commissioning to a maximum of $12,000. If you choose to do the REI where you're not selling your primary residence, you have 15 working days from the date that you receive your appraisal to submit your request for REI and complete the claim. You cannot change your mind when to elect REI. CMHC fees are 100% reimbursable from CORE. And this is if you do not have 20% down to pay for your mortgage. The elimination of the personal funds envelope, which was one of the major changes this year. It really wasn't that big of a change, but it was. So posting allowances, movement grants, real estate incentives, they're just paid directly to CAF members instead of being held back for any relocation expenses. So your posting allowance, as I mentioned before, it is paid on or after your COS date, typically at your new place of residence or your new base, sorry, not at your old base. You're entitled to the basic allowance entitlement, your BAE, which is a half month's pay if you are a single member, and the DAE, the dependent allowance entitlement, if you are married with children and or even if you are a service couple but have dependent children, you would be entitled to that. If you are a service couple that have no children, you would both be entitled to the BAE. But if you were married service couple with children, the senior of the two members would be entitled to the DAE and the other would be entitled to the BAE. Reservists are entitled to a $1,000 reserve posting allowance. New or improved benefits and amendments. Oh, this is you. Sorry.
Me again. So there have been new and improved amended benefits to the new CAFRD. Again, knowledge is power here. It's important to read up on them, but some important ones to take note here is they have increased professional home cleaning to $200 from your core funding envelope. And they have included pet-related expenses. Pet-related expenses to include a service dog that is being shipped or is accompanying a member or a member's dependent will be claimable from core funding. Amended benefits. So the pet-related expenses will be limited to a maximum of $1,000. and they can be reimbursed. And special commuting assistance will be established as a travel benefit under CPI 209.29 with a reduced entitlement period or reduced amount payable. Again, these are just a few amended benefits in the new CAF Relocation Directive. Repealed benefits. So these benefits were affected by the personalized funds that were no longer available previously. So not too many changes here, as the posting allowance can only be cashed out or RSP through your orderly room. But one big one was the mortgage interest buy down benefit that was removed, as it used to be a personalized benefit. For APS 2021, members will receive the email, which will be on the next slide, from DRBM once you've registered. It will also have a checklist that will help you with your relocation. So this is an example of the email that you will receive, as well as the checklist that you'll have for your relocation. And now into the adjudication process. So only requests for clarification of policy are staffed through myself or Warrant Officer Doyle will be reviewed by DCBA. You cannot contact DCBA directly. You need to go through a CAF relocation coordinator. If you are looking for any policy clarification, if you're looking to adjudicate an expense that's been denied to you by BGRS, you need to include a written description, the rationale supporting the request, and you need to provide supporting documents to go along with that request. We will give you the form that you need to fill out. You will send it back to us, and then at that point, we will submit it for DCBA review.
DCBA Authority. DCBA cannot create new benefits, override conditions or limitations, ignore preset criteria, or provide compassion for dedicated CAF members. Special circumstances, outside members' control. I hate to say it, but COVID-19, the real estate trends that are currently going, and home closing dates are not outside members' control right now. Things that are deemed by Treasury Board to be outside members' control are things that happen within the CAF, other government of Canada agency departments, foreign governments, natural disasters, labor disputes, and criminal activities. If for some reason a stopover or a delay in travel happens, that is outside of members' control. If you are traveling on the road and you have a heart attack, that is outside members' control. But all of the other issues that we've currently seen, DCBA and Treasury Board do not deem anything for COVID-19 being outside members' control. Slide. Outcan. So HHTs for this year are prohibited. We left up some of these things like the Queen Mary, although it would definitely be prohibited this year, but just general knowledge. So whenever you are looking at an Outcan, the biggest thing for any of these is ensure that you have all of your documentation, ensure that you have your visas and all of your passports in place before any flights are being booked. Verify that your vehicle registration is being dealt with, third location requests. We don't have very many Outcan requests that come our way. So if there is any, we're always open that we can assist, and we will find clarification if required.
Moving on to home equity assistance. There we go. They have removed depressed markets out of the CAFRD. That is no longer in policy. Home equity assistance is if you sell your home for less than your original purchase price. So it is not your appraised value, it is the original purchase price of that home, and it's the difference between the two. That total difference of the loss is 80% reimbursable from your core funds, up to 30,000, whichever is less, and the remainder 20% is reimbursable from your custom funds. Again, there is a cap on your custom funds, so you may or may not have that whole amount reimbursed to you.
The T1213 form. This only applies for your posting allowance. If you wish to put your posting allowance directly into your RRSP and you know that you are being posted this year, you need to complete this form as soon as possible and send it off to CRA. You cannot request your posting allowance until you receive the letter from CRA. Once you receive that letter from CRA, where they allow you to put the money into your RRSP because you have room, you can then bring that letter into your orderly room and complete your posting allowance form, which is a 2516. No, 2507, I'm sorry. With that being said, they will then scan that document and send it off to Ottawa, and Ottawa will automatically hold the taxes at source so that you will receive the entire posting allowance, and you will then be able to take that money and put it directly onto your RRSP. Oh, I skipped one. And additional information, again, like we stated earlier, all of these links are hyperlinks, so you will be able to click on any of them to be able to find any information that you require, as well as websites. Once again, we would like to thank you for watching today's presentation. And again, we have placed up our contact information, so you can contact Kayla Wright or myself at either of our email addresses. And the link for our CAF relocation coordinator will be updated, as I will be posted out later on this summer, and a new CAF relocation coordinator will be posted in. Over to you, sir.
Hi there. Hey, Warren, Doyle, and Kayla. Thanks for that. Walking us through both the policy, but also some experience that folks have had, distilled experience, where those lessons learned are all based on what folks have gone through. So, certainly it's there as advice for you all. And as I'll say again, it is a stressful time. But you make it less stressful by being well informed, by understanding the policy. And it is better to check a policy and then make a big decision than make a big decision and then check the policy. I think that's a very, very big, important takeaway from tonight. And as was said, although COVID has made everything harder, it itself is not a circumstance beyond your control for things like close dates. What I'll do is I'll invite my RSM, Chief Warrant Officer Manon Desharnais, to give some other policy perspectives as well, and maybe the point of view from the RSM. RSM.
Thank you, sir. I just want to emphasize the information that was passed tonight by this recording presentation. It's important to take the time to go through it and to read the policy. It is your move. We said it more and more every day, but it's your move and it's your responsibility. The two CAF relocation coordinator are here to answer your question. And si vous avez des questions en français puis que c'est plus facile pour vous, seulement qu'à les envoyer et puis on peut vous aider aussi en français. So just want to make sure it is a stressful moment, a move. Yes, COVID makes it a bit harder, but people went through it and went well. So take the time, read the policy. Adjudication, you have to have a benefit that was denied. You cannot ask an adjudication because you think that you might be denied a benefit. Okay, that's something that sometimes people are anxious, understandable, but it's a benefit that needs to be denied. And like I said, it's your move. People went through it. You can do it. It's stressful. We understand it. And I'm sure your chain of command can give you the time to do your move and be successful in it. That's it, sir.
Thanks, RSM. And again, thanks, Julie, for being our host tonight and for posting us on the website. And, you know, as I said at the start, moving is stressful, but as a family, we get through it. You know, it's have a safe and healthy summer. And, you know, by the fall, people will be settled in their new places and we'll carry on. So again, thanks for that, Julie and team as well. Have a great rest of the day, wherever you are and whenever you are. Thanks so much.
Thank you.